Hero.
Christopher is my hero. To Roger Ailes, thank you for your friendship. Beth, thank you for being here tonight. And thank you, Roger, for revolutionizing news throughout the world with the Fox News Channel. You have brought, yes, that deserves applause. You have brought, and I'm happy to say it, and I'm happy to be your only friend, but I think you have 500 friends here. You have brought renewed life to our First Amendment, and you have demonstrated that fair and balanced means never having to say you're sorry for our nation's conduct and the conduct of our friends like Israel for the sake of political correctness. So we thank you, Roger. I don't want to go on too long tonight because I know you're hungry and I know you've had a long day working, but I did want to say a few things because this is really the culmination of 60 years of hard work that's begun, really my father's hard work, and we're so indebted to you for this honor tonight. My father and brother have asked me to accept the Generation to Generation Award on their behalf. The concept of generation is particularly poignant and important, not only for the JCRC, but for the Johnson family. And in considering the significance of passing values and traditions from one generation to the next, we are drawn inexorably and sadly to remember the one event of the last century which in a heartbeat of time extinguished generations and serves eternally as a prism through which all acceptable human conduct must be reflected: the Holocaust. Though we may worship in different houses, we share roots as diverse as Ireland, Russia, and Poland. We share a history of privation and discrimination, a history of triumph over adversity, of optimism over pain, the need to give to those who have less, to share with those who need more, and the desire to honor the Almighty, our nation, and yes, our fathers. Thank you for honoring our father. His life is epic in service and undaunted courage. Throughout the dark days of the Depression, helping raise 9 brothers and sisters. As a police officer on the Lower East Side of Manhattan in 1940, befriending an Eldridge Street store owner, terrified, who had fled Nazi oppression. Almost losing his life as a Marine at Iwo Jima and spending a year in a Marine hospital. Living his own on the waterfront saga, helping clean up the mob on the West Side waterfront, challenging the corruption of Tammany Hall, becoming one of the great trial lawyers in this country, marrying a wonderful woman, Veronica, our mother. His aims are the aims of the JCRC and the people in this audience who come here to break bread together in good faith, valuing community and brotherhood above all. We see the good works of JCRC over and over again in the city. We feel its positive influence even when it acts so anonymously, so modestly, so quietly, Rabbi Miller, but so effectively to improve intergroup relations. Tonight, at this happy intersection of time, place, and shared intentions, you bring together not only a room full of New Yorkers with generations of service, but also generations of shared experience. For the last 2 decades, not only has Rabbi Michael Miller served this organization and this city incredibly well, he served his country as a chaplain in the United States Army, fulfilling a generational legacy that goes back decades. My grandfather, a longshoreman, often walked past a kosher butcher store owned by Brian Schreiber's family on Carmine Street in Greenwich Village. Did they ever imagine that Brian Schreiber and the Johnsons would stand together at the pier on this cold March evening with Roger Ailes and Ray Kelly and David Dinkins and the Seligsons and the Ellerons and the Lerners and the Tivens and the Bloombergs and the Ratners. Did they ever imagine that we would stand here united by a shared vision of a closer New York and a stronger Israel? Tonight, the Johnsons, including my wife Blanche and our daughters Blanche and Veronica, are inspired and renewed and energized by the reflected light of your shining example. Every day throughout the 5 boroughs, sharing your faith and opening your heart, you help bring closest to those who may have stood furthest away because of ignorance, because of circumstance, and in a real way, you invoke the example of 2 brothers. Many of you know the story of these 2 brothers, Shimon and Isaac, who reaped wheat in the fields of Zion. One night in the dark of the moon, the elder brother Shimon gathered several sheaves of his harvest and left it in his brother Isaac's field, saying to himself, "Brother has so many children with so many mouths to feed, he could use some of my bounty." And he went home. A short time later, the younger brother slipped out of his home, gathered several sheaves of wheat, and carried it into his brother's field, saying to himself, "My brother is all alone, with no one to help him harvest. So I will share some of my wheat with him." When the sun rose, each brother was amazed to find they had just as much wheat as before. The next night, they paid each other the same kindness and still woke to find their stores undiminished. But on the 3rd night, they met each other at the top of the hill as they carried their gifts to each other's fields. They said not a word, but each threw his arms around the other and shed tears of joy for his goodness. Shimon and Isaac grew old. Many generations passed. King David came and built a city where the wheat fields had been. The Almighty commanded David's son, King Solomon, to build a holy temple in Jerusalem, on the very spot where the brothers had met and they had embraced. It is known as the holiest place in the world, for it was there that 2 brothers acted out of pure love for another. Thank you, JCRC, for sharing the bounty of your fields with this city. Thank you for allowing us to harvest wheat with you on your courageous and loving mission for social justice. There is no higher honor for this family than to stand with you, and we appreciate this. Thank you so much.
I'd like to say, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of all of us, I would like to thank the Johnson family for doing us the honor of honoring